In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How are you all, dear students? I hope you all are doing well. Dear students, this is Pakistan International School TIE's virtual learning system. And as you know, this is your interesting subject biology, and this is for 8th class, which is now 9th junior. And in today's lecture, we will continue our chapter number 4. Chapter number 4 is about cells and tissues. We have started it in the previous lecture, in that we have seen about microscope and emergence of cell theory, in which we have seen history of cell theory, like how the cell theory is originated. I have told you before that you must remember that on your fingertips, that what is cell theory, what are its three main points. Yes, repeat it with me, that all organisms are composed of one or more cells. This is very, very important topic of cell theory. Number 2, the cells are the smallest living things and the basic unit of organization of all organisms. And number 3 is cells arise only by division of previously existing cells. It means that is omnis celluli acellular. So that is Rudolf Virchow's postulate, which was experimentally proven by Louis Pasteur. So actually, cell theory was developed, or these three postulates were not only the development of from one or two scientists, but that is the collection of lots of observations of experiments of different scientists. So basically, we can say that Matthias Schleiden and Theodor Schwann and Rudolf Virchow, they gave the three postulates of cell theory. So this is regarded as one of the most fundamental knowledge in biology, because without that, we cannot study biology. So up to here, we have studied that all organisms are made up of cells, but if we go to the world of microorganisms, there are some organisms which seems to be living as well as non-living. Those are called acellular particles, because acellular particles means without cells. So we'll talk about in this lecture about acellular particles, as well as we will start the study of a cell in detail. And first of all, we will see about cellular structures and functions. So let's get started. Yes, yes, students, we will see first of all subcellular or acellular particles. Okay, so according to the first principle or first postulate of cell theory, that all organisms are composed of one or more cells. But there are certain organisms which are not composed of cells. Cells means they must have all the cell organelles and cell structures in them, and also the life processes. But they are not having such type of processes of life. They are viruses, prions, and viroids. Maybe you have heard the name virus. So virus, singular, virus is plural. You have studied in chapter number 3 as well, because they are not considered as the living organisms, and they are not being participated in any of the five kingdoms. Five kingdoms, what are the five kingdoms? Kingdom, first of all, protozoa, like prokaryotes, protists, fungi, plants, and animals. Yes. So these which are not participating in any of the kingdom or five kingdoms, so we call them subcellular or acellular particles. A means without, cellular means cells. So these are said to be particles, not organisms. So when they are out of the body, they don't have any metabolic activity inside them. They don't have any metabolic activity inside them. But when they require or need a host, living host in which they can metabolize. So viruses when enter in the body, then they can metabolize and they can cause any type of disease. So they are also the parasites. So they increase in number, they can transmit their characteristics to the next generations, but with the help of the living host. Without host, if they are outside, they are non-living. So the viruses, they can have the shape like this. This is bacteriophage virus which attack on the virus. Viroids, they can have this type of structure. And prions are just any damaged protein particle which can cause the diseases. So they are actually not having any type of cellular structures. That's why they are acellular or subcellular particles. Okay, dear students, so let's talk about very detailed topic. Now we are gonna talk about cell. So cell are having different parts in that, so those parts are very small indeed. That's why they are called cell organelles. Cell organelles because they are the cell's organs. Okay, so we will talk about cell organelles. Cell organelles means which are the organs which are present inside the cell, these all which are moving around. But before that we will talk about some extracellular extra organelles substances like which are not included in organelles but they are the part of cells, so those are called cellular structures. We will talk about their structures and functions also. So let's talk about the first and foremost, that is the cell wall. Cell wall because that is the outer boundary of the plant cell. You can see this is the plant cell, and this plant cell is having, this is cell wall which is outside, and this is cell membrane which is the inner boundary of the plant cell. So the outermost boundary of the plant cell, that is called cell wall, and that is non-living and strong component of the cell. So let's talk about its location. This is outside of the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane or cell membrane, that is the same thing, because inside there is the plasma, so the membrane which is surrounding this plasma, that is plasma membrane, or because this is a cell, so that is also said to be cell membrane. So that cell wall is outside of the cell membrane or plasma membrane. So very important function it carries, like it provides shape, strength, protection and support to the inner living matter. This living matter that is also said to be cytoplasm, protoplasm, plasma, etc. That is jelly-like fluid, which is, you can see here all around, this is protoplasm, and outside that is cell membrane, and the outermost in the plant cell, it is only located in the plant cell, not in the animal cell, because that is very tough and hard and strong component, because it is having different type of chemicals inside it, so that make it very strong and hard component. And this is very important in the plant cell because it gives the plant a shape, because plants had have to stand outside in straight away just to bear the environmental conditions, sun, like heat, rain, snow, and light, etc. Lots of other devastating conditions. So their cell wall has to be very strong, that protects and support the inner living matter, because if it is not present, so the matter can be escaped out, evaporated, can be dehydrated, cell can be ruptured, and ruptured means shrink, and that can be shrunk, and the plant can die. So that gives proper shape and protection to the plant cell. Okay, so if we talk about its structure, you can see these all are plant cells. They're almost rectangular in shape, and there is a protoplasm inside it because it is in the movement. But the outside boundary, that is uh, a cell wall. So here is the structure of cell wall. If you can see that plant cell have a variety of chemicals in the cell walls. Number one, it is having two types of membranes. Number one is outer layer, that is called the primary cell wall. Okay, so in more some plants are on plant cell wall is only having primary cell wall, but some cells of the plant like xylem cells. Xylem cells, we will see its structure also in the last of this chapter, but it means that xylem cell conducts water in the plant, so it has to be more tough. So for more tough, it is having an other wall inside it, that is called inner wall or secondary wall, inner of the primary wall. So cell wall is having two cells, outer and inner. Outer is called primary cell wall because it arise first, and a secondary cell wall that arise next to the primary cell wall. Okay, so here you can see this is primary cell wall because it is originated first, so it is the outermost layer. And if it is having like xylem cell, it is having the secondary wall, so it is inner to the primary wall. Okay, between these two walls, between these two cells, like the secondary, sorry, this primary cell wall, this pink one, and this pink one, and this pink one, these are three cells of the plant, any part of the plant, three cells, so it has to be just stick together. For that, there is another hard cemetery layer that is called middle lamella. So middle lamella is joining two primary cell walls, two primary cell walls of two cells. So here we will discuss it in the last also. Okay, so primary cell wall is having which chemical inside it? That is called cellulose. Cellulose. And secondary cell wall, which is more stronger, more thicker, that is having the chemical that is called lignin. Lignin. Primary cell wall is having cellulose, which make it harder. The plant cell wall, a harder structure, strong, stiff structure. But if lignin is present, it gives it more strength and more power and more strongness. So cellulose and lignin are present in primary and secondary cell wall of the plant cells. Another very important structure which is present in the plant cells, there are some pores. Okay, if we say that These plants cells give them structure, proper hard structure. There is no barrier. Sorry, this is the strongest barrier. So there is no way of conducting water or how the materials pass from one cell to another or out of the inside the cell. So what is that? There are, how it can be happen, there are some pores inside the cell wall, like you can see these pores, these pores, they make the connection from one cell to the other cell. So first of all, they make a pit, a little hole in that, and then these two channels are formed between two cells. So these are the connections of, we can say, the innermost, we can say, the cell membrane and cell wall also. These are called plasmodesmata. Plasmodesmata. Outer you can see here and inner you can see here. So these are the connections or pores which are making the connection between two cells to pass the material from one cell to another. So water also transport through xylem cells, as well as some materials can transport from this cytoplasm to this cytoplasm to the other cells by these plasmodesmata. Okay, this, the material inside, that is also called cytoplasm, that is also called cytosol. Okay. So these are the connections between two cytoplasms of the two cells through the cell wall. Because cell wall itself is a rigid structure, so it does not have any type of um, connection, or it does not allow any type of material to pass from one cell to another except these plasmodesmata. So cell wall in plant cell, that is made up of cellulose and lignin, but other organisms are also having cell wall. For example, if we take a look on fungi, fungi is plural, fungus is singular, and this is, you know what is this? Yes, this is very familiar to you, I think so. This is mushroom. Mushroom is also fungus. Some are edible and some are poisonous. So mushrooms are also fungus, so they are having the cell wall, but that cell wall is not made up of cellulose, but that cell wall is made up of chitin. That does not contain cellulose, that contain chitin. Chitin makes it more shiny and stiff. So like if you see the insects, so insects outer covering, that is said to be exoskeleton. For example, beetle and cockroach, they are having shiny skin outside it. So that shiny skin, that is made up of chitin. So uh, when you prick that, so you can hear a sound crick like this, the breaking of that chitin. So it means the chitin is the exoskeleton of that insects also, and that is also present in the cell wall of fungi. Okay, next organism in which the cell wall is present, they are prokaryotes. What are prokaryotes? Do you remember? Pro means first, karyote means nucleus. Before nucleus, there are some organisms which do not have nucleus actually. Yes, you're right. That is bacterium. Bacterium is singular, bacteria are plural. So bacterium's outer covering, outer wall, that is cell wall. Inner is cell membrane. So that cell wall is made up of what material? No chitin, no cellulose, another material that is called peptidoglycan. Peptidoglycan. Wherever the word peptide comes, it means peptide means amino acids. Like amino acids means that is made up of proteins Proteins, and wherever the word glycan comes, it comes from glucose, it means sugar. So its cell wall is made up of amino acids like proteins and sugars, it means glucose, carbohydrates. So carbohydrates and proteins both are combined together, then they form peptidoglycan. So prokaryotes or bacterial cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan, which is the complex molecule, like a big molecule of amino acid and sugar. So here you can see bacterium, and here you can see fungus, and this is the inner structure of fungal cell wall. So you can see chitin is present here. Some proteins, monoproteins are there, glucans are there, like carbohydrates as well as, but the main thing that is made up of chitin, not of the cellulose. So this is all about cell wall. The details you have seen, just remember that. That is must be on your fingertips. Like what type of chemicals are present, how many walls are there, primary and secondary wall. Inside the cell wall, primary wall is made up of cellulose, and primary wall is made up of cellulose, and secondary wall is made up of lignin, and there is another structure, plasmodesmata, which is the connection. You can see here, look, connections between two cell walls. Those are called plasmodesmata, and fungi. The cell wall of fungi is made up of chitin, and cell wall of prokaryotes or bacteria, that is made up of peptidoglycan. Okay, the next very, very important structure we will talk about right now, that is about cell membrane. Yes, cell membrane. Cell membrane, like membrane is the covering of the cell that is present in every type of cell. Animal cells, like that is plant cell also inner to the cell wall, and microorganisms, every type of microorganisms except acellular organisms, acellular particles, that cell membrane is present every type of cells and every cells of your body. So that is the specificity of animal cell. So where it is located? In all prokaryotes and eukaryotes, it is having a thin elastic cell membrane which covers the cytoplasm. You can see this is a plant cell. This outer covering of that is the like cross section or cut section of animal cell. So that is covered outside from the cell membrane, like a membrane, like uh, a ball of jelly. Like inside jelly there are lots of nuts, almonds, like lots of chunks of fruits are there, and outside there is a bowl in which they all things are kept. So that is like that. A cell, its outer covering in which all the ingredients are present, that is called cell membrane. So its function is, that is number very important point. It is a semi-permeable barrier. Semi means half, permeable means to give permission or allow. Barrier means covering. So semi-permeable, semi mean like it means that it allows some of the materials to pass inside the cell and allowing a few molecules across it and some left outside. So fencing the majority of chemicals inside it. Fencing means it keeps lots of chemicals inside the cell, does not allow to pass out, so they always just keep them inside. In this way, the cell membrane maintains the internal composition of the cell. Internal composition means the chemicals which are required for the cell, they are present, or it allows those cells to pass inside the cell, and which are not required. For example, its wastage, its excreta, like some other materials which are in excess, so it removes out of that membrane. Cell membrane can also sense chemical messages and can identify other cells. Like this is a cell membrane is very important while our immune system, that is called WBCs. So in WBCs, white blood cell, the cell membrane is very important because it releases some of the chemicals which gives signals to other white blood cells or calls them in place of any infection just to fight against the germs. So now we will see in detail the structure of plasma membrane. Here you can see actually the function of like how it is allowing some of the materials to pass out of the cell and some of the materials to move inside the cells. So this is the cell membrane of the plant, of animal cell or plant cell, any type of cell. So it's very important structure. Most of the scientists reveal, most of the scientists actually experimentally proved that structure. That structure is named as fluid mosaic model of cell membrane. Fluid mosaic model. So fluid mosaic model, it is having some main points like how the cell membrane looks like. So first of all, it is made up of lipid bilayer. Bi means two, layer means two layers are there which are made up of lipids. So here you can see, and here you can see clearly, this is one lipid layer and this is the other lipid layer. So it's one cell membrane, but it is made up of lipid bilayer. Bilayers like two layers of lipid molecules. This is one lipid molecule. This is one lipid molecule. So lipid bilayer and protein molecules are embedded. These all are which you are looking here, like these are the channels, these are the ways, these are the receptors which allow the materials to pass in and out of the cells. These are all proteins. So they are embedded with the proteins. Like in a cake, we are having fruit chunks and we embed the almonds, like this looks like almond which embed in the cakes. So like that. Lipid bilayer, what is the function of that? That gives fluidity and elasticity to the membrane. Look how it is moving in the cell, because all around there is water, so it moves like this, so it gives the fluidity and it can change a little shape. So small amounts, okay, the other structure, very important structure, small amounts of carbohydrates are found in the cell membrane. These are joined with proteins or lipid membranes. So you can see not here in this structure, this one and this one. These are some carbohydrates which are either attached with this lipid membrane, this is lipid one, or either with the protein. You can see here this is the protein, and this is, if it is attached with the protein, this is called glycoprotein, and if it is attached with the lipid, that is called glycolipid. Okay, so another structure which is present in that one, that is cholesterol. Cholesterol is also present in this lipid bilayer. You can see how it gives fluidity to this to the cell membrane. So this is a big molecule of cholesterol which is embedded like this in the cell, and it also gives the fluidity, strength and structure to the to the cell membrane. This is very important because lots of our proteins are hormones. They are made up of cholesterol also, and cholesterol is like an important part of our cell also. Okay, so if we talk about eukaryotic cell, do you know eukaryotic cell? Eukaryotic cell is that cell in which a proper nucleus is present. That is opposite to prokaryotes. U means true, karyot means nucleus. A proper nucleus is present. So if nucleus is present, nucleus is also having such type of boundary that is made up of like cell membrane. So mitochondria, chloroplast, Golgi apparatus, and endoplasmic reticulum, all they have such type of boundaries which are made up of these type of cell membranes. Okay, the next of this very important cell structure, that is, you can see here, this is a cell, and inside this pink one, this is not actually the pink, this is just diagram. There's transparent jelly like substance in which all the other cell organelles float. That is called cytoplasm. So its location is um, within the boundary of cell membrane. Cytoplasm is located, and that is semi-viscous, like viscous means thick. It is semi-viscous, not so thick, not so thin. Semi-transparent, it is not white, not blackish, just semi-transparent or not completely transparent. Substance which is present between the plasma membrane, here you can see the plasma membrane, as well as near the nuclear envelope. So from here to here, all around this one, their cytoplasm is present. So if we see its chemical composition, it is having lots of water inside it, which make it a jelly-like substance, and it is having proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, and lots of inorganic salts, which are completely or partially dissolved in it. Okay, so if we see its functions, very important functions it is having, because if cytoplasm just if it shrinks, so the cell can die. Um, it must have water fluid inside it, so it gives, that is called cyto means a cell, and plasm means the liquid fluid. It provides the space for the proper functioning of organelles, like proper functioning of organelles. It does not like it cannot perform its cell cannot perform its function while at a dry place, so it must need some of the liquid medium. So that liquid medium is called cytoplasm. Like here are lots of biochemical metabolic reactions are there. Those are, we can see glycolysis. You will see this in chapter number 6, I think so. 5, 6, 7, chapter number 7, glycolysis, in which glyco means carbohydrates, lysis means breakdown. So breakdown of glucose is done, that is done during respiration, and photosynthesis and lots of other processes are going to be done on daily basis on this in the cytoplasm. Okay, so the last cellular structure of that is called cytoskeleton. Cyto means cell and skeleton means skeleton, like not bony structure, but its cell is also having skeleton. That skeleton is the network of microfilaments and microtubules. Tubules means it makes some smaller tube-like structures. Micro means very small. Micro means small, and filaments mean threads. So they are just spread in the cytoplasm. These are microfilaments. And here in this structure, you can see these are microfilaments, and other are this blue one. They are microtubules. So here you can see from plasma membrane to the other plasma membrane, there are microfilaments, thread-like structures, and these are microtubules, these tube-like structures. So they are microtubules are made up of tubulin protein, which the protein which make tubes-like structures, and they hold the shape of the cell, like it gives the shape to the proper cells, and that is also present in cilia and flagella. Cilia are hair-like structure which are present in very large amount around the cell. For example, any type of bacteria, you can see like this, very smaller in length, but there are very large number, numerous. Flagella is also present in the cell, but they are one or two, but they are longer indeed. They both are for the movement of the cell. These are present in the microorganisms. So microtubules are present in cilia and flagella also, and in the cell also, to give them shape. Microfilament, they are thinner and made up of actin protein. Actin means it does some action. For actions, action means what type of action it can it helps the cell to change their shapes, like because the cytoplasm is the liquid substance, so cells have to move a little bit, so it helps in the changing of its shape. So microfilaments and microtubules are said to be skeleton of the cell, that is called cytoskeleton. So dear students, these were the four very important structures which we have studied in this lecture. I hope you understood and found it very interesting and informative. Wish you all the best. We will continue cell organelles inshallah in the next lecture. Allah Hafiz.